International Trade Focus is brought to you by GOIL and Agricultural Development Bank.
Coming up on International Trade Focus, we shall take a look at the role that the Ghana International Aluminium Development Corporation, Giadec, is playing to ensure that the country can capitalize on bauxite aluminium production for national development. And later, government bans the exportation of maize and soybeans to 8 countries. Ghana has been mining and exporting raw bauxite for several decades, but in terms of foreign exchange inflows, the result has been nothing to write home about. It's against this backdrop that the government of Ghana has come up with a clear plan to reverse this phenomenon by rolling out a strategy that will enable us earn much higher foreign exchange for our bauxite and also develop a proper value chain that will lead to the establishment of related industries that can create more jobs and raw materials that can feed other industries. On today's edition of International Trade Focus, we shall take a look at Ghana's bauxite industry and measures and strategies that have been put in place to boost this industry. My name is Anna Spio and this is International Trade Focus. International Trade Focus is brought to you by GOIL, Good Energy, ADB, Truly Agric and more, Public Elegance and Pediasi Valley Resorts. Stay tuned.
Here's innovation from GOIL that takes you further. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex and GOIL has innovated to stay ahead with expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. GOIL. Good energy.
Are you an importer or exporter? Do you need quick financing at the best rate on the market? ADB has good news for you. Walk into any agricultural development bank location nationwide for that solution to all your trade financing needs. ADB offers you pre-financing of exports and imports, post-shipment credit facilities, bank guarantees, the issuance and acceptance of letters of credit, documentary bills for collection, outward documentary collection. Enjoy free advisory services from our well-trained, dedicated trade officers. Exporters of agricultural products are encouraged to take advantage of this great service. For further enquiries, call us on 0302 210 210. ADB, making trade finance easy. ADB, Truly Agric and more.
Breathtaking picturesque views, the essence of tranquility recrafted. What's your desire? A romantic expedition, syndicate sessions, banquet and conferences, or a discreet weekend getaway? Just name it. It is exclusively packaged for you at Pediasi Valley Resort. Every spacious rooms, ultra-modern gym facilities, games, indoors, terrace and lawn restaurants and lounges, cozy private dining, and all the swimmer's paradise. Aquaba, any day, all year round to Pediasi Valley Resort. The acts of serenity, skillfully served.
Stay tuned for our focal point segment. Ghana holds the third largest reserves of bauxite in Africa at an estimated 960 million metric tons, most of which is found in the regions of Awaso, Chebi and Yinehini. However, Ghana's bauxite remains highly unexploited. Out of the 3 bauxite concessions, only one, the Awaso concession, has been mined since the history of bauxite mining in Ghana. Reports show that Ghana exported 329,681,000 metric tons of raw bauxite in March 2018. This records a decrease from the previous number of 451,265,000 metric tons for December 2017. Although Ghana has been mining and exporting raw bauxite for decades, in terms of foreign exchange inflows, the result has been nothing to write home about. It's interesting to note that whereas a ton of raw, unrefined bauxite costs between $30 to $50 on the international market, a ton of alumina costs between $600 to $1,100. A ton of aluminium, an end product, costs about $3,600 on the world market. Therefore, to say that the country needs to put measures in place to add value to the bauxite we mine is an understatement. The aluminium value chain consists of bauxite mining, alumina refining, aluminium smelting, and aluminium fabrication. The higher one goes in the value chain, the more revenue is generated. In recent times, stakeholders have come to the realization that adding value to the raw bauxite Ghana exports is the surest way to ensure that the country generates an even higher revenue, a move that will boost Ghana's economy and take us a step further towards the goal of becoming a self-sufficient nation. On August 2018, the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation Giadec was established through an Act of Parliament to promote and develop a globally competitive integrated aluminium industry in Ghana. Later in 2021, President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo launched the 4 key projects under the upstream part of the integrated aluminium industry and also announced the selection of a strategic partner for one of the projects, Rockshore International, a wholly Ghanaian-owned company.
The journey to create an aluminum industry in Ghana began in 1948 through the establishment of the Volta Aluminum Company, VALCO, a joint venture initiative between Kaiser Aluminum and Alcoa, 2 well-known American conglomerates in the aluminum industry. Later, in order to guarantee reliable and competitive power supply for the aluminum smelter that was to be set up, Kaiser Aluminum made an investment, together with the government of our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, in 1961, which led to the building of the Akosombo Dam. It was agreed that Kaiser, subsequent to the construction of the dam, would exploit the country's bauxite resources to serve as feedstock for the smelter at VALCO. Unfortunately, this never happened. Even after the construction of the dam, Kaiser continued to depend on his Jamaican bauxite resources for the operation of the smelter. We have thus been unable to put ourselves in a position to develop fully the entire value chain of our bauxite resources, and have only mined and exported some of the bauxite in its raw, unprocessed form. That is why, upon my assumption of office in 2017, government, with the support of Parliament, worked hard to establish the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, a statutory corporation under a well-grounded board of directors with its purposeful chief executive officer and management, to spearhead the implementation of government's commitment to build an integrated aluminum industry. Since its formation, the leadership of the corporation has been working assiduously with transaction advisors and other stakeholders to ensure that the objective of achieving an integrated aluminum industry is executed in a timely manner. Today, I have the pleasure of launching the 4 projects that will anchor the development of the integrated aluminum industry. The projects will be developed concurrently, and they are Project 1, as you have heard, the expansion of the Awaso mine and establishment of a refinery. Project 2, the development of a mine at Inehi in Pasaso and establishment of a refinery. 3, the development of mines at Chebi and Inehi and establishment of a refinery. And Project 4, the modernization and expansion of the Valco plant. The vision of building an integrated aluminum industry is very important to us all, and particularly dear to me, given the significant transformational impact it will have on the development of our economy and the considerable potential it has for wealth creation. It is at the heart of our industrial transformation agenda. The execution of 4 projects in Awaso, Inehi, Pasaso, and Chebi will lead to the creation of business ventures that will see us reducing our reliance on the import of aluminum products and enable us to develop employment and high-paying jobs for our people. They will also ensure integration and value addition across the bauxite aluminum value chain. If we are to be successful in this venture, the development of our nation's railway infrastructure will be vital. I've thus directed the Ministers for Railway Development and Finance to work together to accelerate the realization of our Western and Eastern railway lines railway network. The port infrastructure necessary to efficient operations for exportation of bulk items has to be developed in tandem, as we seek to do in the Buankra Inland Port Project. Government has resolved to support this industry to be globally competitive and hence working to find solutions to ensure competitively priced power is available to meet the requirements of Giadec and their investment partners. A key area of attention in the development of this entire plan has been the focus on environmental issues with respect to the exploitation of our significant mining deposits. We believe that mining can and must be done in a responsible manner. Government, through its regulatory agencies, will act to protect our environment at all times. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has sponsored work to develop a biodiversity and hydrology study for the Etiwa Forest Reserve, which will guide and inform the EPA on how any activities are carried out in the forest. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that Giadec has completed the selection of a strategic partner for Project 2, which is the development of a mine at Inehi in Pasaso with a refinery. This is a significant development and one that brings us closer to realizing our plan. Rockshore International, a wholly owned Ghanaian company, is that strategic partner. The choice of a Ghanaian company in a highly competitive process is very pleasing at a time when we're looking for homegrown companies that can compete with the best across the world. I am certain that Rockshore International, with their demonstrable experience and track record of excellent delivery, will be a credible partner to Giadec. This choice indeed is a major step forward towards building capacity in Ghana for this industry, and a partnership that will ensure we develop a Ghanaian solution that will propel our rapid growth. Aluminum is often described as the metal of the future, with research defining it, amongst others, as, quote, an electric vehicle game changer, unquote. Its aluminum-based batteries triple the range and charge 70 times faster in comparison to lithium batteries being used currently in electric vehicles. If that is the case, we have its raw material, that is bauxite, in abundance in Ghana. The time has come to make a concerted effort, not merely to bring the raw material into play, but also to establish the full value chain of the product so we can have a vibrant aluminum industry in Ghana. We will then have a strong stake in the future.
The 4 key projects are expected to give Ghana a robust aluminium industry that can compete globally and meet local demand. Project 1 is the expansion of existing mine at Awaso and building of a refinery. Project 2 is the development of a mine at Giadec in Pasaso and a refinery solution. Project 3 is the development of a mine at Chebi and a second mine at Giadec in Pasaso and building of a refinery. Project 4 is the retrofitting, modernization and expansion of Valco smelter to improve efficiency and increase capacity. These 4 projects are at various stages of execution, which our in-depth segment will throw more light on. Although all 4 projects are key to the development of an integrated aluminium industry, one can say that an improved performance of the Volta Aluminium Company Limited, also known as Valco, is critical. Presently, Giadec has worked with Valco to review their operations and prepare balance sheet restructuring options to position the corporation as a strong institution in order to assess capital funding that will be used to modernize the plant. Between 2020 and 2021, the government has invested about 14 million cedis into Valco, the first time the plant has seen any new investment in 13 years. This investment, coupled with buoyant market prices, has resulted in an EBITDA of about $4 million as of September 2021 by Valco. The first time profitability has been reported in a decade. As a result, the plant has been able to increase its maintenance budget, resulting in plant stability, operational uptime, and made significant cost savings. Although it's evident that the country is laying a strong foundation that will ensure that the bauxite and aluminium industry receive the desired boost, stakeholders believe an improved and expanded railway system will go a long way to boost mining prospects. On today's edition of International Trade Figures, we want to have an in-depth conversation with the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, Giadec, a body set up by government with a responsibility to manage and develop Ghana's bauxite at all levels. Our in-depth segment comes up shortly. Don't go away. So Ghana has been mining and exporting raw bauxite for several decades, but in terms of foreign exchange inflows, the result has been nothing to write home about. It's against this backdrop that the government of Ghana has set out a clear plan of strategies or policies to enable Ghana earn higher from the bauxite we mine and export. The Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, Giadec, is a body set up by government with a responsibility to promote and develop Ghana's aluminium industry. Our guest for today is the CEO of Giadec, Mr. Michael Ansa. We want to take a look at how his outfit is positioning itself to enable Ghana capitalize on the production of bauxite and aluminium. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Michael Ansa, thank you very much for your time. It looks like we're going to have a lengthy conversation, so let's go straight. Tell us about Giadec and its mandate.
So the mandate of Giadec is to develop and promote an integrated aluminium industry in Ghana. And those two words there are important. The development is all around being able to drive the entire value chain, everything from mining bauxite, refining alumina, and then developing or smelting it into aluminium, and then developing downstream industries. And in this whole value chain, Giadec will play an active part, will be an equity partner with the various groups that we'll bring in, to work with us to accomplish this. Then there's the matter of promotion, which is all around making sure that we can create an ecosystem for companies operating in the space to be able to thrive, to be able to have the right regimes for operating, to be able to operate easily and effectively, and to be profitable in Ghana. So we're all about promoting and developing an integrated aluminium industry, and that is precisely the mandate for which Giadec was set up. There's a bit of history to it as well, because Ghana has made attempts at establishing an integrated aluminium industry for several years, dating back to the 1960s, when the first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, attempted that. It led to building of the Akosombo Dam, led to building of the Valco aluminium smelter, and those two were developed, of course, to the power being an important resource to the smelter. But we're never able to join our mining of bauxite to that whole process, nor the development of a refinery. So those two things were not part of what was developed at the time. Of course, Ghana has been mining bauxite here since the 1940s, so there's a history to that. But the two entities, the mining side, the smelting side, have not worked together before. So for the first time, what we're doing with Giadec is to ensure that within this corporation, everything to do with mining, refining, smelting, downstream industries can be contained in one entity. All government's interests will be held under Giadec, and as such today, Giadec is 100% shareholder of Valco, and the 20% stake that government has in Ghana Bauxite Company is held through Giadec, and we're working towards developing the Giadec with an asset base, effectively, or with a structure that means we are an operating entity, and that helps us to promote and develop the industry from today.
Right. Before we go any further, you touched briefly on Ghana exporting bauxite. So let's delve a bit deeper into that, Ghana's history in terms of bauxite mining and exporting, and the fact that according to research in terms of foreign exchange, the influence has not been that great. Yeah. So let's talk briefly about that. The price, the world market price of bauxite compared to aluminium and all of that.
Yeah, you touch a very important point, and that's precisely why Giadec has been established. It's all about realizing value with all these mineral resources and assets that we have as a country. And if you look at bauxite as a commodity, the pricing, bauxite today is trading around about north of $50 per ton. Aluminium today is trading about $3,600 plus dollars per ton. And the process is to ensure that, or what we're trying to do is to ensure that we add value to raw bauxite, so that we don't export just raw bauxite, because as I said, the tonnage, a ton of bauxite is significantly lower than a ton of aluminium in terms of commodity pricing. But if you add value to bauxite into alumina, you'll be looking close to about $400 per ton, and then it's about 10 times or 9 times when you get to aluminium at today's prices. Of course, the prices fluctuate, quite a fair bit, but this is the kind of thing we're talking about. So, 40 to 50 for bauxite today, about 400 for alumina, and about 3,600 or so for aluminium. So, the value, what you gain by adding value is really significant. Now, the bauxite that is mined in Ghana has always been mined by foreign interests. So, the likes of Rio Tinto, Alcoa, and various guises of those sorts of companies have mined Ghana's bauxite for a long period of time, and more recently a Chinese company. But 80% today, as it stands, is owned by an entity that's not the Ghana government, but what we own is 20%. And as such, if you do the sort of the business of just exporting bauxite, the income accruing to us from being a shareholder, holding 20%, to the taxes that accrue, royalties that we pay, is not significant, as you rightly said. Now, since Giadec has been involved with a Ghana Bauxite Company, we've been able to work with them to achieve better operational performance. We've reported profits in the last 2 years, consecutive profits. and that is beginning to show, some improvement. But we are looking beyond that. We're looking to expand that mine. We're looking to tie it into refining, and then we're looking to also bring investment in that will drive that more as an integrated project. So Giadec is not going to be about just mining bauxite. It's going to be about making sure that we can integrate the entire process, we can add value, and we can therefore increase our capacity or ability to earn more in foreign exchange for the country.
So I told a colleague about this interview, and anytime she hears bauxite, she said something that I found pretty interesting. She said the value or the importance, the value of bauxite, in her words, is so useless. I mean, exporting bauxite raw is so useless that when the trucks are carrying it to the ports and other things, a big clients, that's what she was saying, as compared to gold and others. So she was trying to imply that the smelting and all of that would play an important role. I mean, if you add value to it. And the figures that you've mentioned too, why have we taken so long? I think it's ridiculous that we are exporting bauxite in its raw state, considering the figures that you just mentioned.
No, good question. I mean, you can say the same for cocoa, you can say the same for gold, you can say the same for diamonds. We export these commodities in their raw forms. And one thing that His Excellency, the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has been harping on, his vision is a Ghana beyond aid. And it's a Ghana where we add value to our raw materials. We just don't export raw materials. So part of what we're doing, the government is very keen to do that. His vision is to make sure that we can drive this in a very comprehensive way and use that to drive industrialization. So this is all about an industrialization agenda. And what your friend said is true. I mean, bauxite is not a precious metal. So yes, you can argue that in that regard is significantly less than, say, gold. But the volumes that we export are significant. Today we are doing about 1 million. We've done about 1.5 million tons before. But we're looking to significantly ramp up bauxite production as part of this whole thing, because we're going to refine bauxite and build a refining capacity of 2 to 4 million. You're looking at 5 to 10 million tons of bauxite being produced in Ghana, and that is what the focus is. And it's going to be a multi-year investment. I'll come later to the investment programs that we're driving, the projects that we're driving, but this is going to be significant investment as we've not seen before in a long time in our industrial development planning, and the capacity to be able to execute a project like that, is going to be huge, and we've got to be able to drive that in a coordinated way.
I think reading through the 4 key projects that have been outlined, there's no doubt that it's critical to the development and promotion of an integrated aluminium industry in Ghana. So let's take a look at the 4 key projects, the objectives, and the various stage or level of progress that we've attained at the moment. So the project 1 is the Awaso mine expansion. How is that going?
Yeah, so we have about 900 million metric tons of bauxite in Ghana. That's the historical information that we have. The area that we've been mining is Awaso in the western north region. Ninahin has in the region of about 700 million tons, and then Chebi has 160 to 200 million tons. So having mined Awaso for 70 years, we've still got some hills and things to develop there. It's important that we look at how we can develop Awaso further, but then provide resources for Awaso such that the project becomes an expanded project of the Awaso mine. So we want to combine the resources in Awaso plus part of the Ninahin resource to then build a new mine that will produce about 5 million tons of bauxite. And the 5 million tons of bauxite we produce there will be refined in Ghana. So a refinery project attached to that will have a capacity of, say, about 2 million tons of alumina production, and that will require about 5 million tons of bauxite. So that's what Project 1 is about. It's about expanding the mine, recognizing that we've been mining Awaso for a long time. So though we have operating capacity there, we don't have sufficient resource to be able to build a viable project. So adding resources from a part of the Ninahin one makes it a viable project, which is why we're expanding it to do that. So that's the first project. The second project will also be anchored in the core Nyinehin area. Nyinehin has about 10 hills, so another few hills there will be part of this area that we're developing as Project 2. With that one, we've actually signed an agreement with a local Ghanaian company, which has international reach, very strong mining credentials, and they are looking to work with us to bring the investment to develop another 5 million ton bauxite mining project and the development of a refinery solution. So that is Project 2. Then Project 3 is the development of the remaining resources in Nyinehin plus the development of the resources in Chebi, again to make it a stronger viable proposition, and that will also lead to mining something in the region of 5 to 7 million tons and a refinery about 2.5 million tons. So the three projects altogether have refineries attached to them. We will end up building one or two or so refineries, more than likely two, and that will then give us refining capacity and means that the bauxite that we're mining in Ghana is being refined in Ghana. The fourth project is the modernization and retrofitting of the Valco smelter. This is a smelter that we've had since 1967, very outmoded in terms of its equipment and technology, and therefore not competitive in terms of its if you look at it in terms of the current smelters across the world. So we've been on a program of stabilizing that business, investing, to sort of clean up the equipment and make sure it can produce to a degree. Government has given us power at a certain rate, which allows us to be competitive to a degree again. We're dealing in a situation in the world now where aluminium prices historically are at a high. Last year, we were able to turn a profit, and they hadn't delivered a profit for some 10 to 12 years. So that was significant in terms of operational efficiencies. And then we're forecasting that we'll deliver a profit again this year. But we need significant investment to retrofit and modernize the plant. And that is what we are doing now to prepare to bring in a strategic investor who will, a partner who will come in with the investment, maybe with the operational capacity for us to retrofit and modernize the plant. So that is Project 4.
If you just tuned in, you're watching International Trade Focus, and this is our in-depth segment. We're having a conversation with the CEO of Giadec, Mr. Michael Ansa. The conversation continues after this break. Don't go away.
Breathtaking picturesque views, the essence of tranquility recrafted. What's your desire? A romantic expedition, syndicate sessions, banquet and conferences, or a discreet weekend getaway? Just name it. It's exclusively packaged for you at Peduasi Valley Resort. Every spacious rooms, ultra-modern gym facilities, games, indoors, terrace and lawn restaurants and lounges, cozy private dining, and all the swimmer's paradise. Aquaba, any day, all year round to Peduasi Valley Resort. The acts of serenity, skillfully served.
Here's innovation from Goyle that takes you further. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and Goyle has innovated to stay ahead with expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. Goyle. Good energy.
A warm welcome back. The conversation continues with the CEO of Giadec. We're taking a look at how his outfit is ensuring that Ghana is able to capitalize on bauxite and aluminium production for national development and economic growth. In terms of investment, what level of investment are you looking at for Valco in terms of amounts?
Yeah. So Valco on its own, as in Project 4 alone, you're looking at investments north of 600 million, 700 million, plus even working capital. So let's say 700, 750 million. So that's significant. For the entire 4 projects that we're looking at, you could look, depending on the size of the refineries that we build, anything between 5 and 6 billion altogether, billion US dollars. Now that's what I mean by this is a significant investment, but it's also going to be heavy investment over a long period of time. So it's not like all the 6 billion is required today, but as the projects develop, as we speak today, they are in various stages of development. Project 1 is an ongoing business which we're expanding. Project 2, we've already commenced work on site as we speak now, carrying out all the prospecting work leading to developing a mine. Project 3, we're about to finalize an agreement with a partner. And Project 4, we're about to go to Cabinet for the approval to go and search for a strategic investor. So as you can see, we're pretty much at different stages of development in each of these 4 projects. And we're driving this in a coordinated way. It's an integrated project, and there are several pieces of this jigsaw, if I can call it that. So you're looking at investments around railway development, which is very key to being able to move, bulk commodity, across the country. So whether you're exporting bauxite or you're exporting alumina or you're bringing in the various, materials you need for an alumina plant, etc., railways will be the most efficient way to transport these. And, we want to make sure that that happens. In fact, the president, even in his State of the Nation address, mentioned the steps we're taking for railway development, essentially to support the integrated aluminium industry. So that is key. Then the port infrastructure is also going to be important. Again, bulk commodity exports. Takoradi Port is pretty much in a strong position given all the investments they've been putting in there to give us a capacity to operate like 5 to 10 million tons bauxite handling of all of that. So that's also a key part of this. And then, of course, there's power, which is a conversation that we ought to have, because you look at the smelting side, you need power at a certain rate, and then everything we need in the whole integrated aluminium industry space.
Right. So let's focus a bit more on the modernization of Valco.
Yeah.
Because taking a look at its capacity and the ability to supply the demand both locally and internationally, there is no doubt that it plays a critical role in this conversation that we are having. Mm-hmm. All things considered, you get the investor, and Valco is functioning at full capacity now. Mm-hmm. What does it look like, or will that look like for the country in terms of meeting local demand? Yeah. Now, we know the value chain. I mean, the fact that we are smelting, aluminium is being smelted here in the country would mean that Valco can supply locally and also import. So I want you to paint the picture of how it will look like once Valco is functioning at full capacity.
Yeah. So let's sort of rewind a bit. So Valco was built, the built capacity is 200,000 tons of aluminium production. For a long time now, it's not been able to operate at full capacity. And today, as we speak, we're operating around about, say, 50,000 tons a year, which, is fine, but it's only sort of 20 to 25% of its installed capacity. What we're looking to do with this program is to retrofit the plant, not just to do the 200, but also to increase the production, which will take us to about 300,000 tons of aluminium production. That will place us in a very strong position, certainly in Africa, in terms of aluminium production. Now, today we export, even the 50,000 that we produce, we export the bulk of that. Over about 80% of that's exported, 20% or so, or even less, is used locally. And we want to drive the utilization of the aluminium in Ghana, which is why we're keenly interested in the development of the downstream industries. It links, there are so many linkages. There's the automobile industry that is beginning to, we've got a few, 4 or 5 or so new ones that are coming in, assembly plants coming in. We've got the building industry where you do aluminium extrusions for doors and windows and all of that, and various uses, packaging, etc. So aluminium, people describe it as the metal of the future. So what we're looking to do is to expand that production to 300,000 tons and drive the utilization of aluminium in Ghana with these downstream industries. Of course, the remainder of that will be exported. And if you look at where we are today, I mean, there's a lot of focus now on the development of the internal market in Africa. If you look today, there are various African countries are importing aluminium. They are, variously, they are using even aluminium products that are coming in already made, etc. So with the downstream industries, we will make these things here. We can export it to African markets. We can also export aluminium to African markets, and of course to the European and other global markets that we already operate in. So this is to make sure that we can, first of all, increase our production capacity. Secondly, drive utilization of the product in Ghana. And then thirdly, look to an African market that we're beginning to access through the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and other initiatives that are happening. And of course, thirdly, the global markets that we're looking at. So we see this as a significant step to help us drive better utilization of the capacity that we can generate with all these plants for Valco and to continue to make it a very viable company.
Right. So in terms of modernization, what are some of the plants or equipment that are expected to be in there?
So when you talk about modernizing and retrofitting a plant, it's like basically gutting it out and replacing the lines. So aluminium, you have lines. Today we have 5 lines, but what we're going to do is to bring in 2 new lines and the 2 to replace the 5. One with 175,000 ton capacity and the other one with 125. That's how we get the 300. So basically to gut out the lines and do that. There'll be some retrofitting, not to go into technicalities of other supporting infrastructure that you have in a smelting operation. So all those ones will be revamped. But the key thing is the replacement of the lines and making the lines more efficient and being able to ramp it up from 200,000 to 300,000.
Right. So this is just by the way question. What's the difference between refining and smelting? I find it a bit intertwining.
Okay. So when we talk about the value chain of aluminium production, mining, the base material you need for aluminium is bauxite. So that is what we're mining, first of all. And then the mining, and then you take the bauxite to a refinery, and that refinery refines it into alumina. And the alumina is what is used in the smelter to produce aluminium, primary aluminium. Today, Valco imports alumina because we don't produce alumina in Ghana. We mine bauxite, but we ship it out. We export all the bauxite that we mine here. So there isn't an alumina plant, to refine alumina, and as a result, you have the plant solely reliant on importing alumina as its base material for aluminium production. So refining is the process of turning the bauxite into alumina, and that is the piece that has been missing for all these 50, 60 odd years.
Right. So we touched briefly on the importance of adding value to bauxite that is mined here, but I want us to delve deeper into the place emphasis on that. Now we are at a stage in our lives, or a stage in the world, where various economies are struggling, and it's glaring in our faces now, as the president always says, the need to boost local industries to be self-sufficient and all of that. So I want you to highlight strongly strongly the importance of adding value to like bauxite in Ghana before we export, and for local demand, to meet local demand as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why Giadec has been established. Giadec will not be successful if all we did was to mine bauxite. The essence of Giadec is integration of the value chain. The essence of Giadec is adding value to our raw material, in this case, bauxite. The essence of Giadec is driving this through such that the benefits of that value chain can be locked in Ghana, hence the focus on the development of downstream industries. The essence of Giadec, if I can add a fourth, is to ensure that this will drive higher value, higher paying jobs, in industry and in development of all these downstream activities that I'm talking about. So it's a fully integrated program, and one that requires significant joined up thinking. If you ask me why we've perhaps not been able to do this in previous years, or in the last 4 or 5 decades or so, I think it's been because we've lacked the integration piece. We've lacked the focus on bringing all the entities in this space under one umbrella. If you look at the leading 10 integrated aluminium companies in the world, you will see, look at their business models. You see the mining, refining, smelting. There are even the companies that started as smelting organizations, like Dubai in the UAE, have done backward integration. They bought into mining and they built a refinery. And that is where you can lock in the value in your enterprise fully. So we believe that doing it this way and defining our direction and getting our partners to come in and be part of what we want to do. So we've expressed our vision very clearly, that we want to be an integrated aluminum industry, that we want to be a major player in Africa in years to come, that we want to drive this integration with partners who buy into this vision. We've been very explicit, very clear, very unequivocal about that. And that is what we are doing as Giadec. And the response in terms of the appetite of investors to what we're doing has been significant. We've had mid-level players, we've had top 10 players, we've had new entrants coming in. So we're having conversations with different people who bring in different experiences, which makes the whole process interesting.
You mentioned we've spoken about the 4 key projects.
Yeah.
What are some hurdles that you've identified, and how can we jump over them? I know that, for instance, a railway expansion will play a critical role in what you hope to achieve.
Yeah, I think the challenges are pretty wide. I mean, you've touched on the infrastructure side. So to build an integrated aluminium industry, the conditions for success require that you have a very strong infrastructure base, and that will be one of the key things that will be attractive to investors coming in. And railway is absolutely crucial. You can't move bulk commodities on our roads. It's got to be railways. So that is something that from day one we've identified as something we have to do. Key issue, key challenge, but government is making significant efforts for us to have a viable railway industry to support what we're doing. The allied, sort of huge industrial infrastructure needs will be the port expansion, port infrastructure. Again, the efforts are being made in that regard. We're working very closely with Ghana Ports and Harbors, and they understand what our requirements are and can meet those. The third is power, not in any particular order of priority, but power is absolutely essential to what we're doing, especially on the smelting end, and power at a competitive rate. And again, the challenges we have today is that power in Ghana, as far as this industry is concerned, won't put us in a strong competitive position. So we want to lock in pricing in the region of 3.5 cents to 3 cents, 3.5 cents per kilowatt hour, and that is a tall order, but that is something that government's also committed to helping this industry to thrive. And the benefits that this will drive it's what it makes it necessary for us to have the downstream industries in Ghana that use the material, so that we're not exporting value, when we use power at these rates. So we're working towards all of these things where Giadec is working very closely, and I think the focus on or the approach that we have used to integrate this is important. So, for instance, we have working groups working with us on to address these challenges. We have one on power, and that brings all the power players in Ghana together. We're talking about this; they know what the issues are. We have one on transport that brings, again, the railway and other groups like that together, again, so that it's uppermost in terms of what they're thinking, what their plans are. And then the environment, which I'm sure we'll come to later, is also another area of challenge in terms of being able to do things in the right way. And Giadec has set a stall in terms of what we're trying to do. Mining 900 million tons of bauxite in some cases in forest areas, etc., requires real adherence to environmental management, international standards for managing the environment, which we're very keen to do and which we're doing. So driving effective management of those resources and making sure we manage these effectively is something that's very, very much at the heart of our operations.
And that was the CEO of Giadec, Mr. Michael Ansay, was our guest for today. We took a look at the role that his outfit is playing to ensure that Ghana is able to capitalize on the production of bauxite and aluminium for national development and economic growth. We'll be back shortly after this break. Don't go away.
Here's innovation from Goyle that takes you further. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and Goyle has innovated to stay ahead with expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. Goyle. Good energy.
As part of measures to ensure food security and increase local poultry and livestock production, government has restricted the export of maize and soya bean, which are the two important commodities in the poultry subsector. Food security in Ghana has become a pertinent issue for several months now, with issues such as lack of access to poultry feed, fertilizer, and rising of food prices, which is reflected in Ghana's high food inflation, have got stakeholders in the sector concerned. Data suggests that there has been an incredible increase in the export of soya bean from Ghana, resulting in the competition among exporters while creating shortage of commodity, which is used by the livestock and poultry industries. The shortage also led to price hikes, which eventually is expensive for local processing. In order to address these issues, government has restricted the exportation of the country's two important commodities, soya bean and maize, from the country. Following this directive from the Ministry of Trade and Industry to ensure the availability of produce, the directive restricts Ghana's export of these commodities to Niger, Sierra Leone, the Republic of Congo, the United Kingdom, Qatar, the United States, Italy, and Canada. The directive was premised on the fact that the country did not have enough quantities of these commodities, for which reason it could no longer export them. Subsequently, the Plant Protection and Regulatory Service (PDRSD), a directorate under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture responsible for the production of certificates for agricultural exports, whether in small or large quantities, has stopped issuing certificates for the export of both commodities. As a result, stakeholders such as the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, the Ministry of Finance, the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, and others will soon meet to discuss how best to implement the export restrictions. Government has, however, insisted the implementation of this new policy is a priority to the national security. Meanwhile, countries such as Burkina Faso and other countries in West Africa already imposed bans on the exports of those commodities since last year.
Are you an importer or exporter? Do you need quick financing at the best rate on the market? ADB has good news for you. Walk into any agricultural development bank location nationwide for that solution to all your trade financing needs. ADB offers you pre-financing of exports and imports, post-shipment credit facilities, bank guarantees, the issuance and acceptance of letters of credit, documentary bills for collection, outward documentary collection. Enjoy free advisory services from our well-trained, dedicated trade officers. Exporters of agricultural products are encouraged to take advantage of this great service. For further enquiries, call us on 0302 210 210. ADB, making trade finance easy. ADB, truly agric and more.
And it's a wrap for today's edition of International Trade Focus. Join us same time next week for some more on international trade-related activities here in Ghana and beyond. International Trade Focus is brought to you by Gore Good Energy, ADB, Truly Agric and More, Public Elegance and Pediasi Valley Resort. My name is Anas Pio. Bye-bye. Join us same time next week.